We saw the videos.
Follow directions.
Step by step.
This is
Gave it a shot. Today we are making a dessert. We haven't made many desserts yet. We're gonna do a ding dong cake. Wesley loves ding dongs, and I wanted to try out this filling that's in this cake because I was hoping that I can use it to make my filling for my whoopie pies. And I get to make ganache, which is just whipping cream and chocolate. I've never made ganache before. Should be pretty easy. So we're gonna make this ding dong cake and we'll try it and see how it turns out. All right, I got my sifter over my bowl, 1 3/4 cup of flour. Then I got 2 cups of sugar. It's a lot of sugar.
That's never gonna fit.
Yeah, she didn't actually sift anything until she got it all in her sifter. But my sifter is pretty big, but it doesn't all fit, so I just gotta kind of work as I go. 3 3/4 cup of cocoa. She puts all of her dry ingredients. All of her dry ingredients in her sifter before she.
The presenter. Call him the presenter.
The presenter. Alright, so I got enough room in there now. I got 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Oops, some of it's stuck in there. And then 1 teaspoon of salt. Oh. That is it for my dry ingredients, so I'm just gonna sift that all in here. I'm just gonna give this a quick little stir just to get those dry ingredients together. Alright, we set this aside. I'm going to grab my other bowl and we combine the wet ingredients. We got 1 cup of room temperature buttermilk. Sometimes the buttermilk sticks in there, so I'm going to spatula it out. 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. 2 extra large eggs at room temperature. My buttermilk was at room temperature too. I don't know if I said that out loud. And 2 teaspoons.
Yeah, you did.
Or yes, 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Is that 2? That looks like 1. Yeah, it's probably fine. I think I measured 2. All right, we just whisk this up. Then we bring our dry ingredients back.
I can't see the color. It's so yellow.
It's like a beige. Alright, we're going to bring our dry ingredients back and we slowly add our wet ingredients into our dry ingredients. So thus far the recipe and the video both follow the same basic pattern.
I thought you were slowly adding it.
Well, shut up. Got to get everything incorporated. We got nosy kids on the other side of the room. We're trying to see what we got going on over there with all our other ingredients. Alright, I'm gonna get that off of there. And then we add 1 cup of coffee. She switches to a hand mixer. On the video, or in the directions, she actually says use a stand mixer, but obviously it doesn't matter. And it says on low. Coffee in our coffee maker in my coffee cup. Don't worry, be happy. So we're gonna just dump that cup of coffee. You see that coffee in there? Fresh brewed coffee. Was fresh brewed, I let it cool a little. That 1 cup made it rather soupy. Ooh, that 1 cup made it really soupy. Alright, it says scrape the bottom of your bowl. Oh, man. Is it just me or does that seem really soupy? Alright, now it says the recipe says to add to 2 prepared 8-inch pans, but it does also say you can use 9-inch pans as well for a slightly thinner cake. If anybody, neither the video or the recipe explains what a prepared pan is. So real quick, this is how I prepare my pans, and it's basically no fail every time. You take a paper towel with some regular vegetable shortening and wipe a very thin layer on your sides and your crack and on the bottom, and make sure you don't get a thick layer and don't miss rough shortening on your bottom. Okay, make sure you don't miss any spots. And then you take one, like a tablespoon of flour, stick it in there, and then you start shaking it around the bottom of your pan to coat the bottom, and then you turn your pan on its side and slowly rotate your pan and tapping off all the extras as you go. So you want a very thin coat of flour on it also, completely covering the whole thing. Usually what I do is on my first pan, I hold it over and bang it on the second pan to get that extra flour out into the second pan so I can reuse it. And on the second pan, I always just do it over the sink or the trash so I can just get it out without having a mess everywhere. So that's what a prepared pan is. This is kind of a tried and true prepared pan method. Brian's on my left, so I gotta try to pour the opposite.
I can move.
We'll divide this very, very runny cake batter in between our two pans. Try to make it even, doesn't really matter.
It matters.
It's not a huge deal if it's not exact, is what I'm saying. Not a huge deal. All right, so here is pretty much the only discrepancy between the video and the recipe. They both bake at 350, but the video says bake 35 to 40 minutes. The recipe said, well, I guess the recipe says bake 30 to 40 minutes. So I definitely would check it after 30. Since we're using the 9-inch pans, I'm gonna probably check it a little earlier. I'm gonna start at 28. So we got a 350-degree oven going on over here. We're gonna pop these in side by side. I don't think I've ever had a cake batter quite so liquidy. And we bake these until they're set enough that you can insert a knife or a toothpick and have it come out clean when you pull it out from the center. So I'm gonna start at 28 minutes, and then we're gonna get to work on our filling because part of our filling has to cool. All right, now I am going to make this filling. And now we've got I have just a regular saute pan. I'm gonna add 1 cup of whole milk. We usually only drink skim milk, so we had to go out and get some whole milk for the recipe. I want everything to be exact. I got 5 tablespoons of flour. We just gotta whisk that in there before we turn on any heat. That way we don't get any lumps. Okay, so I've almost got all the lumps mixed out of here. Then we want to whisk it on medium-low. So I have an electric stove, so I'm turning it on 4. And you want to whisk consistently until this becomes thick, kind of like a roux. A roux is basically the base for sauces and cream soups. So we want to whisk this non-stop. I don't have to whisk it very quickly right at the moment because it's not warm yet, so. We'll get back at you once it starts to thicken up. As you can see, it's definitely starting to thicken up here. I'm going to keep on stirring. I made Brian stir while I wash them dishes up. That's the problem with having all your ingredients measured out ahead of time, is you get so many dishes.
Yeah, we don't cook like that.
So a lot of times we don't cook with the recipe. Not how we do it. And look how creamy that looks. It's just about ready. You see how nice and thick that is? It's just kind of flopping out. All right, I think that looks thick enough, don't you?
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna remove it from the heat. Then we're gonna whisk in 1 teaspoon of vanilla. We got all kinds of noises now. Our dryer's beeping. So I just whisk in the vanilla to my mixture. You don't want to mix it in before because you don't want it to burn. A lot of fudge recipes and stuff do that. Alright, so this part is finished. I'm actually just gonna go ahead and scoop it back into my measuring cup that I measured my milk in. And then we gotta let this cool completely until we are ready to add it to the next step. If you need to cool it faster, I've done it in the refrigerator, but I actually discovered recently it works pretty well if you put a little bit of cold water, even ice water, in the sink and set your bowl down in the sink. That way it'll cool it down, and you just give it a stir every once in a while. It'll cool it down faster. So we're gonna put this nice thick mixture and let it cool, and then we will get the rest of the stuff ready. All right, 28 minutes. Let's check and see how they're doing. The one on the left looks like it fell a little.
It's supposed to, isn't it?
It's not supposed to fall. Oh, look at that, 28 minutes. Coming out clean already. So those are done. Glad I didn't put it in for 40. All right, so get my other pot holder. Pull that arm up out. Now it says to let cool.
Do you want some? Have a
Look how chocolatey that looks. Now it says let cool for 30 minutes before removing from pan. This is what I actually like to do when I first pull it out of the oven. I like to do a little jiggle to kind of loosen it up from the edges of the pan. Actually, this is sticking a lot more than my normal cakes stick to a pan. Just gently go around the edges with a knife. Make sure it's not stuck, and then jiggle it. You see how it's slightly coming up from the edge of the pan, from the bottom? Just want to give it a little jiggle, and I'm actually going to come back in 5 minutes and give it another jiggle, just to help keep it from sticking to the pan. I'm only going to let them cool in the pan for, oops, oh no, I just ripped that one a little, darn it, for about 15 minutes. It's still stuck to the pan. This must be a strange recipe, because I have never had that happen with my prepared pan method like that. I don't know if you can see in there, but it's like sticking at the edges. That's okay, that'll be our bottom layer. It don't matter, we're just gonna eat it. But it is sticking, that is really strange. Alright, so I'll give that a little shake. In another 5 minutes, I'm gonna come back and give it another little shake.
Why is there a sinkhole in mine?
I'll check. Oh, Liam says there's a sinkhole in them. There's an itty bitty little piece that fell out. Do you want to try it, Brian? It's cool.
It's cool.
What does it taste like?
Hard.
Huh?
It's a little hard.
It was the edge piece. All right, so I'm gonna let these sit for another 5 minutes or so until they're a little more secure to wiggle them out a little better. But it's soft on top. That batter was very, very soft, so gave me some concerns, but it baked through. We'll check it again when it's cool.
Disaster.
I'm trying here. It's so stuck to the bottom. It's sticky. I'm really trying to gently get this up, because it's been in the pan long enough, and it's just a flippin' stuck mess. I got a huge chunk that broke off. Alright, this is what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to put that back where it belongs. I got a plate. I'm just going to hope for the best. Okay, well, at least doesn't this look amazing? Alright, it's actually fairly cool. I'm going to attempt to do the other one here. I got it loose from around the sides. I don't know what's going on here. Like I said, and this is not my preparation pan fault. I prepare the pan. I am a baker.
Well, it was so soupy.
I can hear it. You hear it? There's a little bit of you can hear the moisture. Listen. I don't know if you can hear that.
I can't hear it.
This one's not stuck as bad. So hopefully this one works out to be the top. Oh, crap. We'll see. I'm going to do the same for this one. Can I hope the middle didn't stick? Well, we got a chunk, but it's not as bad. Alright, so I'm going to stick these in the refrigerator while we make our frosting. That way when our frosting's done, they should be completely cool. Okay, so got our bowl, 1 cup of butter. I am actually just using regular butter this time instead of trying to substitute for a cheaper margarine so I can get the true feel of the recipe. So I just put in 1 cup of butter and how much sugar do I got here? 1 cup of sugar. I like to sing circus songs, obviously. It's humid in here, so everything wants to stick to my bowls. All right, and guess how long I have to mix this?
25 minutes.
Okay, that. You guess too long. Okay, 8 minutes, which seems crazy. I feel like that's very high. On a medium high for 8 minutes is how long I need to whip this. That's low. I hope my mixer doesn't die. 8 minutes is a long time. Alright, so been mixing this on medium high for 8 minutes. Lesson learned, if you have a stand mixer, use a stand mixer. My hands are still vibrating. Alright, so I'm not sure, why 8 minutes, but it looks very melty. My butter was at room temperature to start. Now, here's our cooled flour, milk, vanilla mixture. We're just gonna hear that pop? Did you hear the pop? I'm gonna pop that in. I don't know if you can hear it over the kids yelling in the other room, arguing about their video games. Alright, so we got that in there. Now I'm supposed to mix this until it looks like whipped cream. Ooh, I lost a beater. I think that happened last time. Get back in there. Blooper. Oh, that does look like whipped cream, doesn't it?
Yeah, very much.
Think it's done?
I can already tell on here, but yeah.
Alright, let me just get the rest of the stuff off my beater.
The fast way.
Alright, we are going to get the cakes back out of the fridge and plop this in the middle. Okay, I'm going to use my layer that fell apart as my middle layer. Now I don't know how it tastes yet, but the filling seems fairly successful.
It does look like ding dong filling.
It does. I'm not sure how well it would hold up in whoopie pie. I feel like being regular butter has made it kind of melty, so I don't know if I made a whoopie pie with it, if I'd use margarine or maybe part Crisco to kind of give it a little more stability.
Yeah, but wouldn't margarine melt worse? Margarine's easier to melt by hand.
That is true. I don't know. But look how nice that is. That looks delicious. I wonder if it tastes delicious. Here, taste a taste. Try a taste. How's it taste?
Good.
Oh, it is so fluffy. Oh, I do like it. It's not very sweet. That is a good filling. Alright, so got our filling on there. Now how do we get our second falling apart cake on top of our first falling apart cake, you might ask? I have no idea, because look, peek in this crack here.
Oh my God.
It glued itself to the plate. Oh, do I just piece by piece it on here? Let's see.
It's your scraper.
You know what, I'm gonna go get my offset spatula. Alright, so I'm gonna try to pry this up without ruining it too much. Okay, 1, 2, oh! Ah! 3. Ah! Cake on the floor! God. Okay, well, see, we're just gonna shove that in there, make it, see all this? Just fill in the holes. I really feel that recipe had too much liquid. All right, well,
Could do better with store-bought cake.
with a cake mix.
Yeah.
Or maybe, like, I'd say maybe a 1/4 cup of coffee in that recipe, not an entire cup. That was entirely too much. All right, in just a second, we're gonna get working on our ganache. All right, I have 16 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate. We cheated and just used chocolate chips because it was easier and it's what we had on hand. And I have 2 cups of heavy cream that I had brought to room temperature. And I'm going to, we microwaved, well no, it was room temperature to start with. It says that in the recipe. And then we microwaved it for 3 to 4 minutes without letting it boil over. It's allowed to boil, just not boil over. We're then gonna pour it on top of our chocolate. And we're supposed to let that sit for 2 minutes so it slowly melts the chocolate. Okay, it's been sitting for a couple minutes here. You're going to whisk the chocolate chips into this heavy cream. You want to make sure all your ingredients are dry because you don't want to get water in your chocolate. It'll seize up. Now that is very thin. I thought it was going to be thicker than that.
Yeah.
It's very chocolatey looking and rich looking. Kids will want us to just pour that on everything. Waffles? Sure. I think we got too much. And
I'm thinking that's too much for that cake.
And I'm afraid we're gonna have some problems because the plate is kind of thin that I put it on. So, and we already, you know, we gotta. This is just gonna go all into my crevices. So, just start pouring it on gently because we don't want it to. It's supposed to go all down the sides of the cake. And I'm a little nervous because my cake is kind of a falling apart mess. Ah! Don't whoa, it's coming off the plate. It's coming off the plate in multiple spots.
It's a lava cake.
So I'm gonna have to kind of just go with it. The ganache looks nice. I do like this. I should have, you know, it should be on a bigger. I think this size plate would work. You're supposed to spread it with your offset spatula, so it kind of goes down the side. Ah! There, I can't. There's no catching it. It's just. That's. Oh, Brian, catch this! Look! No, watch it with the camera. It's our messed up side is just collapsing. It's. All right. Well, we're gonna let our ganache cool off and set up, and then we are going to taste this. I have a lot of ganache left. Like, even if my cake had been proper and not falling apart,
you could do 3 more.
Yeah, I would have only needed half of this much. So definitely too much ganache. So we'll get back with you in a couple minutes after this sets up and we'll taste it. All right, our ganache has not attempted in the slightest really to set up.
Even in the fridge.
That's almost pouring liquid there. Look at that. That's not set up whatsoever. So I'll have to check some ganache recipes. I've never made it before. I followed this recipe to a T. I might as well cut where my crevice already is, right? I'm gonna take a nice chunk of it. Take a nice chunk. Try not to get super duper messy. The kids are gonna want to try this too.
Of course. They're kids.
And Wesley loves ding dongs. Ooh, check it. Can you see the cream filling on that side? Look at my other side. Check out that cream filling. And this super messy cake. Oh, look at that. I don't even like chocolate. That filling is amazing. It really is good. We were saying, this is right up Brian's alley. He does not like overly sweet stuff. He doesn't like frosting. This is good. I'm gonna have Brian try it now. Here's your fork. The ganache didn't set up. The cake ended up a mess. The frosting is amazing.
This could be improved upon.
It could definitely be improved upon. It's delicious though. Heck, we could just use a box mix. Make it with buttermilk, add the coffee just the same instead of water. And I know it'll set up a lot better than this cake did.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Is it? It's really good.
Yeah.
It's called.
like a ding dong.
You want to try our ding dong cake?
Yeah.
Get them a little taste of the filling, the chocolate, and the.
Oops.
And he dropped a glob on the counter.
That has chocolate on it.
Lots of chocolate, Liam.
Lots of chocolate.
Big bite, Wes.
Good.
How good?
Super good. It's a 100 million.
100 million. All right, Liam. Tell us what you
That's a
think.
big
That is way
one.
too big for Liam's tiny mouth.
Yeah. That's
Trying to give him a
right.
little bit of everything, but
All right, Liam, take a bite.
Good.
These kids like chocolate, so. All right, Brian, what do you think? Wes is coming back for a second bite. What are our ratings for ease of making it? We'll go ease of making it, success of making it, and taste.
I would say, since there are multiple stages, maybe 5.
That I was thinking 5 on ease. Yep, me too.
Success, 3 or 4.
Yeah, the success
3.5
of.
maybe.
I'd say the success is definitely a 3. The cake fell apart. The ganache did not set up like it was supposed to.
The taste, definitely a 10.
A 10. I don't like chocolate, but that filling was amazing. I think I'd give the taste an 8 or a 9 myself. It's definitely up there. That cream filling. That cream filling in here is amazing. I'm gonna totally use this recipe for my cream filling again.
Maybe a little more coffee.
I'll give it
A little more what?
I'll give it I'll give it a 5.
A 5? Look, the kids are attacking it. They're getting ganache on the floor. They're gonna eat this whole piece themselves. Check that out. That was a gigantic piece. We each had 1 bite of it. All right, so overall, if you don't mind a messy cake, this is delicious. If you wanted to make it easier on yourself and make it quicker and improve it,
Store-bought cake.
I would use a store-bought mix.
Substitutes.
Yep, I would put coffee and buttermilk instead of your water. I'd maybe make your coffee stronger so you get a little more coffee flavor. Definitely use a stand mixer for mixing your filling. But the filling,
Find a recipe for ganache.
I'd find a better recipe for the ganache. Your cake batter should not be as thin as it was when I was pouring it into the pans. That was way too thin. But overall, the cake is delicious. That filling is delicious. It's a success taste-wise. Presentation-wise, I'm not sure I would serve this at a party.
No.
But I'm definitely going to use this filling recipe again. I might do half butter, half shortening, so it sits at room temperature better. There you have it. Ding dong cake.